Yeah, I just come out here. Damn calves. I just came out here to see what was going on here. Like I say, check this cow. She was due to have a calf. Make sure she's all right and stuff. But I had something told to me yesterday that's pretty disturbing, and I thought I'd share it. You know, I don't do Facebook or Twitter, and something I didn't hear about because I don't read the paper or watch the local news or anything. But back when we had them polar vortex, it got pretty cold there, and it's actually happened on 2 farms. That the barn froze, and they had no water, and the guy lost a couple cows. He called the vet, and they told him they were dehydrated, and he didn't believe them. He thought it was something else. He didn't believe the cows died because they didn't have water. Well, luckily the vet turned them in or reported them. They ended up selling the cows, got them out of there. But like I said, it's just uncalled for. But the one that really disturbs me, and I kind of know these people. They used to show cows at the fair. This is how these people are. Years ago, when my niece first started showing, she had a Jersey. And when you're in 4-H, you can show. You show in 4-H class, and then they have open class, which is everybody else. And when you're in 4-H, you can show both classes. Well, the local county fair, I mean, it's the largest county fair in Pennsylvania, as it's billed as. Basically, in open class, I don't know if it's actually mandatory, but it's registered animals. Well, the one Jersey my niece was showing, I'm not sure, like I don't know much about Jersey registration, but there's a suffix at the end of the name, 2 letters. It's usually an SR, PR, or it could be anyhow. And it indicates the percentage of registration that cow has. You know, and I think to show an open class, it needs to be over 85% registered. And whatever the 2-letter combination she had on that paper was 1 generation short than what was required. Well, the mother of this family, she complained to the judge. And the judge hated to do it, but she had a legitimate gripe. I mean, she was within the rules. But my niece, first year showing cows, she was 9, 10, whatever she was. She didn't understand why she couldn't show her cow in that show. She could show it in 4-H. It doesn't matter for the 4-H. All they need is a project book. It doesn't have to be registered. But in the open class, they required that. Well, when we looked through the listing, the schedule for the show, you know, when they were showing the classes, this woman, her 2 kids were the only ones in these 2 classes with my niece's cows. So all she did was guarantee her kids first and second place. There's only 3 cows in the classes. So she guaranteed her kid, which she probably was going to win anyhow, but we're talking a difference of maybe $5 in prize money. So this is how petty these people are to guarantee their kids that. But I know they were shut off from sending milk a couple years ago. My milk hauler used to pick them up. They were shut off to grade B, and then I heard they were shut off from that. So they weren't shipping milk anywhere. And I had thought they sold the animals. Well, a year or so ago, their house burnt, and during the winter, their house froze up. So they rented an apartment in town, and the neighbor called the authorities because she heard cows bellowing in the barn. They've been bellowing and bellowing and bellowing. They get there, they found 5 dead cows in that barn because the same thing. The barn had froze, they had no water, and as far as I can tell, these people didn't, maybe not even gone to feed the cows. They just basically abandoned them, left them there to die. And what makes this even worse is the mother, she was a leader in the 4-H group of her kids. And one of their jobs is showing him ethics, teaching him the ethics of humanely treating animals. Well, she was ejected from the 4-H group. They kicked her out. And then the other thing was, I don't know what association she's with, what dairy breed, but she's on I don't think she's on the national board, she's like on the state board. She was scheduled to give a speech somewhere on feeding dairy cattle. And I guess I don't know if they've actually pulled her from that, or this all might be past by now. I mean, I'm sure it has, because this was a couple months ago, or a month or so ago. But I was told she couldn't understand why they were so upset about that either. So, like I say, it's just uncalled for. If you can't care for the animals, just send them to the auction. Just don't abandon them. Like I say, farming industry is bad right now. Dairy, I mean, nobody's making money in dairy. It's what pisses me off. These big mega farms are putting the smaller farms out of debt, or out of business. But they're so deep in debt that the banks just keep lending them money to keep expanding, to keep that cash flow, because they don't want the farms back anyhow. So it's just a big circle of, it's just frustrating. Which comes down to the one, now I kind of know the guy. I knew him to see him at auctions and talk to him. But my in-laws knew them better. My sister-in-law talked to them probably at least once a week or so, but it was a pair of brothers, and this is back in December. They got done with chores in the morning and went to the house to get a snack, rest a little bit before they went back, clean barn and fed the cows or whatever. And the one brother, I think he's actually the younger one, went back to the barn first. And the other brother, he went back out there about 20 minutes later and found him hanging in the barn. So like I said, I mean, I don't think they're hurting all that bad. I mean, things are tough, and they're probably behind on bills and stuff, but that's just the state of basically the dairy industry right now. It is frustrating, and like I said, I talked to the guy delivering feed here, drives a truck. Last year, the feed mill lost over at least 12 farms that he just delivers to, not counting the other drivers, the ones he delivers to. And he says he knows of at least 4 or 5 more that all they're doing is milking until they are out of feed. They're not going to plant crops this spring. They're just feeding out the feed they have on hand, and the cows are going. One of the local auctioneers, I heard he has 35 farms lined up to sell. Now, it's just not my area, because he goes into New York and Ohio and stuff. But I mean, I guess these are farms that are actually already sold, because somebody else told me too that guys are calling him to sell the cows, and he tells them just send them to the auction. It's not worth having a farm sale to sell cattle. They're probably wouldn't even get barely in. It's basically he's saying it's not worth his time, because by the time he takes his fees and stuff, you're going to end up with next to nothing. So I mean, it's just tough, and like I say, it's just hard all over, and I don't know how or when it's going to get any better. But like I said, I started to make this just to say, everybody, you pretty much know which farms are the tail ends. Ones that are hurting, the ones that are just getting whatever feed they can get anywhere to feed cows. Cows are rough looking, and that either just check on them, or if you know they are in them type of situations, report them. Because like I say, there is no call for just abandoning the cows there and letting them die. I mean, I'm in I wouldn't say quite a bad situation, but I'm hurting bad. It's to the point I don't even know how much longer I'm going to stay in this. But I've kind of changed some things around. Like last year, I started seeding ground down to grass mixes, tall fescue and orchard grass mixes, getting away from the clovers and alfalfas. Because if I sell the cows, I can still bale that hay off and sell it to horse people. It'd be good horse feed. But it's still a good dairy feed. If you cut it on 35 to 40 day rotations, it should make good feed to milk cows on. But that's the point, if I can't go much longer, it's not worth selling them. Jerseys might bring some money at a sale, and the Holsteins, but nobody's going to want Shorthorns. Nobody really wants the Brown Swiss. Only, people have love in their heart for them, but most people don't want to deal with them. And I say, if anything, I just quit milking them. And I got enough feed in silo bags here yet. I could feed for most of summer, get them out on pasture. Doesn't cost much to just have them here for a little bit, and maybe the price will get up and beef them then if I have to go that route. But like I say, just to walk away and let them die, that's what hurts the image of the dairy industry. That's why you get these damn vegans. There's videos on YouTube here I've tried to get pulled because there's nothing but falsehoods and lies and exaggerations. People go by their emotions instead of facts. So, but, I know. I talked to you yesterday. But it is getting bad. In my area, pretty much the bad ones are gone. There's only 3 of us left in my township. Probably about 10 years ago, there was probably about 15 in this township. There used to be more farms within a half hour, or within a half mile, I should say, of my place than there are in the whole township right now. Our milk hauler used to have 3 trucks running all the time. He made 7 stops within 5 miles. Now, like I say, it's me, and then he's driving like 20 miles to the next farm. They're getting thinned out. And dealerships the same way. They're merging. I'm going to make a video about that. That pisses me off about what happened here in the last year with the John Deere dealerships around here. Got another dealership. They gave up all their new equipment lines. They started out years ago going out west buying up the used equipment, the 4-row and 6-row planters, the 12-foot discs, stuff like that they don't use out there anymore. And they buy them cheap, bring them here, resell them. And then they used to be a Crone dealer. They used to be J-Lore, Great Plains, what the hell's the other one? They had like 4 or 5, Kinsey. That was the other main line they had. And last year they gave them all up. They went back to just doing the used equipment because no farms around. They're buying new equipment. And when you're a dealer like that, you're required to have product on the lot. So if they have, 3 or 4 Crone round balers sitting in a lot at $30,000 a piece, that's a lot of money tied up, and it sits there for 6 months and nobody's buying them. It's just ain't profitable for them anymore. But like I say, I'm going to end this here. I'll keep going. I don't want to get on too much of a rant, but like I say, if you know somebody that really shouldn't be farming, I should say, or they are struggling, check on them. Make sure they're not getting to the point where they're going to be hanging from the rafters in the barn. Or, because like I said, winter's not over yet. We're going to get some more cold spell here. Them polar vortex are bad. And And you say, if you have to carry water, don't be carry water. I mean, you can get at least something thawed up. I mean, you might not get the whole barn, but I've done that before. I had the heifer barn froze up, and I spent an hour. Could get the spigot, but I couldn't get the water cups unthawed, so you're carrying water to cows. It ain't that big of a deal, but if you know somebody that's not taking care of their animals, report them then. Let somebody else get them out of there, take care of them, or whatever. But so they say this is just the main thing. Look out for each other. So end this here and comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.